The moment to awaken. Let's take a moment together, right here, right now, and simply breathe. Close your eyes if you like and listen. Can you hear it? That constant hum, the never-ending buzz of modern life. Notifications pinging, deadlines looming, the world spinning faster and faster, as if urging us to keep up, no matter how exhausted we feel inside. Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're running on a treadmill, your legs moving, but you're going nowhere? Maybe you wake up and it's already a race. The day passes in a blur of tasks and noise, and at night you wonder, did I actually live today, or was I just surviving? It's easy to feel lost in the chaos. We're all taught to be productive, to hustle harder, to meet everyone's expectations, until one day you realize you've drifted far from what really matters. The outside world grows louder and louder, while the quiet voice inside, the one that knows your true needs, becomes fainter. But here's the gentle truth, one that Buddhist wisdom whispers through centuries. You always have permission to pause. Right now, in this very moment, you can step off that treadmill, even if just for a breath. You can turn your gaze inward, tuning out the endless demands and tuning in to yourself. Think of this as an invitation, a sacred opportunity to recalibrate. When was the last time you asked yourself, what do I truly want? What makes my heart feel light, my mind at ease? Maybe it's been too long since you honored your own needs, since you gave yourself space to just be. Modern life is a storm of information and expectation, but you are not powerless in this storm. You are the one who gets to choose how you respond. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a clear lake. The wind may stir the surface, but deep below, the water remains calm. You can return to that place of calm, again and again, no matter what is happening outside. This isn't selfishness. This is survival, and more than that, it's the foundation of a meaningful life. We've been taught to put everyone else first, to see our own needs as secondary or even selfish. But the truth is, you can only give to others from a place of fullness. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself, giving yourself moments of stillness, is an act of wisdom, not indulgence. So let me ask you, what are you carrying right now that isn't yours to hold? Where do you feel the weight of expectation pressing down on you? How would your life change if you decided, just for today, to make yourself a priority? Maybe you've been living for so long in service of others, your family, your work, your community, that you've forgotten what it feels like to simply exist for yourself. Maybe you're afraid that focusing on your own well-being means letting someone else down. But imagine how much more present, compassionate, and alive you could be if you allowed yourself to recharge. Buddhist philosophy teaches that awakening begins not out there, but within. It starts with one quiet decision, to stop, to breathe, and to listen to your own heart. The world will always clamor for your attention, but peace comes from choosing again and again to turn inward, to honor your own path. Today, I invite you to see this as your wake-up call, not in a dramatic way, but as a gentle nudge. This is your moment to reclaim your focus, to rediscover your purpose, and to release the pressure you've carried for too long. Remember, putting yourself first isn't just allowed, it's necessary. When you tend to your own well-being, you cultivate the clarity and strength to truly show up for the world. So, as we begin this journey together, let's breathe deeply and remind ourselves, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. And every step you take on this path of self-care and self-discovery is a gift, not only to you, but to everyone around you. Are you ready to step off that treadmill? Let's begin. Self-awareness, the foundation of growth. Let's pause for a moment together. Take a gentle breath in And out. When was the last time you truly checked in with yourself? Not just in passing, but with real curiosity and kindness. Most of us live our lives on autopilot, swept along by routines, expectations, and the endless noise of the world. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and somewhere along the way, we can lose touch with who we really are. Maybe you recognize that feeling. Maybe, deep down, you sense there's more to life than just going through the motions. Here's the first core lesson on this journey. Everything changes when you truly know yourself. It might sound simple, even obvious, but it's one of the most overlooked truths. Genuine transformation doesn't start with changing your job, your appearance, or your circumstances. It begins with self-awareness, with understanding the unique landscape of your own mind and heart. In modern Buddhist practice, there's a beautiful word for this: mindfulness. Mindfulness is more than just meditation. It's the art of observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Imagine sitting quietly by the side of a flowing river. Thoughts drift by like leaves on the water. Instead of grabbing at them or pushing them away, you simply watch. You become a gentle witness to your own experience. But how do we bring this awareness into our everyday lives? Start with something simple: a journal and a question. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I truly feel today? Don't rush, don't censor. Let the truth come as it is, raw, honest, maybe even uncomfortable. This small act of self-reflection opens the door to understanding the patterns that drive your choices. What makes you happy? What triggers your frustration or anxiety? Where do you feel most at peace? Why does this matter? Because without self-awareness, we become easy prey for the chaos around us. It's like being tossed by waves on a stormy sea, reacting to every wind, every current, never quite steering your own course. But when you begin to know yourself, even a little, you plant your feet on solid ground. You realize, I am not my fleeting thoughts or passing moods. I am the awareness behind them. Let me share a story from my own life. There was a period when I felt constantly overwhelmed. Work deadlines, family pressures, social obligations. I kept telling myself, just get through it, push a little harder. But the more I ignored my inner voice, the more lost I felt. One night, I sat down and wrote honestly about what I was feeling. Tired, anxious, even lonely at times. That simple act of acknowledgement was a turning point. It didn't fix everything overnight, but it showed me that awareness is the first step toward change. The chaos outside quiets down when you listen within. Buddhist teachers often remind us, what we think, we become. This is not just poetic, it's practical. If we never look within, our lives are shaped by habits, by old wounds, by noise we never even chose. But with self-awareness, you become the sculptor of your own life, not just the clay. So, how can you start today? Set aside 5 minutes to sit in stillness. Ask yourself gently, how do I feel right now? Don't judge, don't analyze, just notice. If you like, write down whatever comes up. With each small practice, you'll notice a shift. You'll catch yourself before reacting in anger. You'll spot old fears before they run the show. You'll remember, even on tough days, that you are more than your circumstances. In this fast-paced world, self-awareness is your anchor. It helps you navigate storms and savor calm waters. It doesn't require perfection, only presence. And as you get to know yourself, you'll find that growth, peace, and clarity aren't something you chase, they're something you allow. So, let's take this step together. This journey isn't about changing who you are, but discovering the incredible richness already within you. The first lesson, perhaps the most important of all, is simply this: know yourself. Everything else will follow. Discovering your why, the inner compass. Let's continue this journey together by exploring something essential, something that can quietly change the direction of your entire life. Pause with me. Take a gentle breath. Now ask yourself, not as a test, but as a soft invitation. Why do I wake up each morning? Why do I choose to do what I do? In the tangled forest of modern life, purpose is your compass. Without it, every path can seem tempting or urgent, and it's easy to lose your way. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by choices, like you're wandering a maze where every turn looks important, but none feel truly yours? Buddhist teachings often remind us that clarity doesn't come from chasing after what everyone else values. It comes from understanding our own inner why. It's the reason behind every step, every struggle, every hope you hold. So, what is your why? It might be as simple as wanting to care for your loved ones. It might be a dream you've quietly carried for years. Or, like so many people, you haven't given yourself the space to truly ask. Let me invite you, right now, to pause and reflect. Why do you get out of bed each day? What gives you energy when you feel tired? If you took away expectations and fears, what would you move toward? Finding your why is not about grand gestures or sudden revelations. Sometimes it's a quiet realization that grows over time, a subtle nudge that tells you, this matters to me. There's a story I love about a man who once chased the traditional dream. He climbed the career ladder, earned the praise, collected the rewards. But each step forward, his heart felt heavier, not lighter. One day, he walked away from a high-paying job to become a teacher for children in need. He traded status for meaning. And for the first time in years, he found a deep sense of fulfillment, a peace that couldn't be bought or measured. This is the quiet power of purpose. When you are guided by your own values, the noise of the world grows softer. External distractions lose their pull, and you move forward with clarity, no longer drifting with every current. Buddhist philosophy calls this alignment with Dharma, the path of truth, the calling that feels uniquely yours. Ask yourself, does my daily life reflect what I value most? Am I living by someone else's script, or am I listening to my own heart? You might find that your purpose is closer than you think. It could be in the way you care for your family, the creativity you bring to your work, the moments of kindness you share with strangers. If you're not sure where to begin, here's a gentle practice. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Let the answer rise up, even if it feels uncertain. Write down the first 3 things that come to mind. These are the seeds of your purpose, your personal North Stars. The world will always try to give you a map full of expectations, pressures, and definitions of success that may not fit you. But your true path comes from within. When you know your why, life's challenges become lessons instead of obstacles. Your work becomes passion. Your journey, no matter how winding, begins to make sense. If you ever feel lost or distracted, return to your why. Hold it close like a lantern on a dark path. Let it light the way when the world gets noisy. Remember, you don't have to have all the answers. Purpose isn't a finish line, it's a companion, something you walk with every day. So, I'll leave you with this gentle question. What is the why that makes your heart feel alive? Give yourself the space and patience to discover it, again and again. When you walk in alignment with your purpose, the world becomes less of a maze and more of a journey, worth embracing, step by mindful step. Let's continue forward, together, each of us guided by our own true compass. Letting go of the need for external approval. Pause with me for a moment and breathe. Can you recall a time when you were waiting, maybe even aching, for someone's approval? Maybe it was a boss, a partner, your family, or a faceless crowd on social media. Maybe you spent hours crafting the perfect message, seeking that one like, that compliment, that tiny flash of validation that says, "You matter." If we're honest, most of us have felt this. It's deeply human to want to be seen, to be recognized, to feel valued. But here's the paradox. The more we chase praise from the outside, the emptier we often feel inside. It's like drinking salt water. No matter how much you consume, it never truly quenches your thirst. Modern life magnifies this longing. We scroll through endless feeds, measuring ourselves against carefully curated snapshots of other people's lives. It's so easy to fall into the trap of comparison, wondering if we're enough, if we're noticed, if our work and our presence matter. But the ancient wisdom of Buddhism offers a different path. It invites us to turn our focus from the noise of the world to the quiet truth within. What if we shifted our energy away from chasing applause and instead poured it into the process, the journey, not just the destination? Imagine working on a creative project or tackling a challenge at work, not for a pat on the back, but simply for the satisfaction of growing, learning, and expressing yourself. How would your day change if you measured success by your effort and integrity instead of the opinions of others? Buddhist philosophy teaches that craving, whether for possessions, praise, or status, only leads to suffering. The need for constant recognition becomes a heavy weight to carry. Yet, the freedom lies in realizing that you are already enough, right here and now. Let's make this real. If you find yourself checking your phone every few minutes, anxiously awaiting feedback, or feeling discouraged by criticism, try this practice. Bring your attention back to the present moment. Celebrate the effort, the courage it took to show up, to create, to share, no matter what the response is. Set boundaries with your digital life. Mute accounts that spark envy or insecurity. Limit your scrolling. And remember, most of what you see is someone else's highlight reel, not the full story. Your journey is uniquely yours. Don't let it be overshadowed by the noise outside. There's a classic Buddhist story of a monk who was insulted by a villager. The monk simply smiled and said, "If you offer me a gift and I do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" In the same way, when someone offers praise or criticism, you have the power to accept or simply let it pass by. Not every opinion belongs to you. Not every judgment defines you. Ask yourself, where in your life are you giving away your peace in exchange for someone else's approval? What would happen if you stopped reaching out for validation and instead turned inward, honoring your own journey, your own values? The moment you let go of the need for constant recognition, you create space for something deeper, inner contentment. You'll notice a gentle confidence beginning to bloom, a quiet trust in yourself that doesn't rise or fall with every opinion that comes your way. This isn't about becoming indifferent or closed off. It's about anchoring yourself so deeply within that outside noise can't shake your core. So, as you move through your day, ask, am I living to impress or to express? Am I shaping my life to fit someone else's expectations, or am I walking my own path? Let today be the day you set down the heavy burden of needing to be liked or admired. Pour your energy into what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your integrity. The applause may come or it may not, but the peace you find in your own heart is the greatest reward. When you live from that place, you become like the monk in the story, unshakable, serene, and truly free. Focus on what you can control. Let's take a slow breath together and allow your mind to gently settle. It's easy, in the rush of everyday life, to feel overwhelmed by all the things that seem outside your grasp. Maybe you wake up to a flood of news, stories of chaos, arguments, uncertainty. Or perhaps you're facing challenges at work, with family, or even just within yourself, where outcomes never seem guaranteed, and you find yourself worrying, planning, and replaying every what if. If you've ever found yourself feeling stuck in that cycle, you're not alone. So many of us spend precious energy trying to control the uncontrollable. But the heart of Buddhist wisdom and the quiet freedom it offers reminds us that while we can't control everything, we always have power over something profoundly important, our own response. Let's pause and consider this together. What if, instead of battling the waves, you learned how to steer your own boat through them? What would it feel like to let go of the need to manage every detail and instead focus on the one thing you can always influence: your attitude, your effort, your perspective? There's an old Buddhist story that paints this truth beautifully. A monk sits in meditation beneath a tree when suddenly a passerby begins to insult him, calling him names, questioning his worth. But the monk remains calm, his peace undisturbed. After a while, someone asks him, "How did you not react?" He replies, "If someone offers you a gift and you choose not to accept it, who does it belong to?" The answer, of course, is that it remains with the giver. By not taking on the anger or negativity of others, the monk keeps his own peace intact. This is the practice of focusing on what is truly within our control. We can't stop other people from saying what they will. We can't always predict life's storms or the shifting winds of circumstance. But we can choose how we respond, and we can cultivate a calm, steady center even when everything around us is changing. How do you begin to practice this? Start by gently identifying what is actually in your control. You can control your effort, how much care you bring to your work or your relationships. You can control your thoughts and the stories you tell yourself, whether you dwell on fear and regret or choose gratitude and hope. You can control your reactions, pausing before responding to criticism or choosing to let go of an argument instead of fueling it. The rest, you can release. Try this simple reflection at the end of your day. List what you faced today that was outside your control. Then ask yourself, how did I respond? What choices did I make that brought me closer to peace or further away from it? You may find that by letting go of the need to manage every outcome, your mind becomes clearer and your heart lighter. Here's another image. Picture a small boat on a vast ocean. The waves may rise and fall, the wind may blow, but the sailor learns to adjust the sails, to steer with awareness, and to move forward one mindful choice at a time. Life, in many ways, is just like that ocean. There will always be circumstances beyond your reach, other people's words, unexpected setbacks, even your own fleeting emotions. But your anchor, your strength, is found in choosing your response. When you shift your energy from what you cannot change to what you can, you reclaim a sense of empowerment and serenity that no storm can take away. So, let's ask ourselves, where am I pouring my energy into things beyond my control? How might my life change if I focus that energy on my own choices, my own attitude, my own actions? When you choose peace, you become the calm in the storm. You inspire those around you, not by controlling the world, but mastering yourself. As the days pass, notice when you're tempted to grab hold of what isn't yours to hold. Instead, breathe, let go, and return to your center. Remember, true power is not about controlling everything outside, it's about guiding everything within. And with every breath, every pause, every mindful response, you shape a life that is resilient, grounded, and truly free. Living in alignment with your core values. Let's take a quiet breath together. As you exhale, I invite you to reflect. When was the last time you felt truly fulfilled? Not just busy, not just accomplished, but genuinely at peace with yourself. There's a subtle ache that comes when we live out of sync with our own values. Have you ever noticed how, no matter how much you achieve, something feels missing if you're not living in a way that's true to your heart? Maybe you've experienced it, the restlessness after reaching a goal, the emptiness that lingers after earning praise, or the quiet discontent that shows up when you're chasing someone else's idea of success. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, lasting peace doesn't come from the things we do, but from the spirit with which we do them. When our actions reflect our deepest values, life flows more naturally. We move with a sense of purpose, and our days carry meaning, even in the smallest moments. But what does it actually mean to live your values? It's more than just knowing what's important to you. It's about making choices, big and small, that honor those values. This requires honesty, courage, and above all, awareness. Let's get practical for a moment. What are your core values? Is it integrity, choosing what's right, even when it's hard? Is it compassion, helping others, even in small ways? Is it growth, committing to learning and becoming better each day? Take a moment and write down 3 values that feel most true to you. Now, beside each value, write one small action you can take to honor it today. Maybe it's speaking up with honesty, reaching out with kindness, or dedicating time to learn something new. You might be surprised by how much these small acts can transform your day. Because when you live in alignment with your values, you build a sense of self-trust and authenticity that no external achievement can give you. There's a powerful story of a woman who once climbed the corporate ladder, each promotion taking her further from her true self. On the surface, she had everything: a great salary, recognition, security, but inside, she felt more lost with every step. One day, she remembered a dream she had as a child: to empower young women through education. After much soul-searching, she made the difficult decision to leave her job and start a nonprofit to support girls' education. The path wasn't easy, but for the first time, her actions matched her deepest values, and in that alignment, she found a fulfillment that her old job never brought. This isn't about grand gestures. Living your values is found in the everyday choices. Choosing kindness in a moment of frustration. Acting with integrity when it would be easier not to. Investing time in what truly matters, even when it's inconvenient. When your actions and values align, something remarkable happens. You become more resilient in the face of challenges. You feel lighter, less burdened by regret or doubt. You inspire trust in those around you, not by what you say, but by how you live. Buddhist philosophy calls this right action, one part of the Eightfold Path. It reminds us that real freedom isn't found in doing whatever we want, but in living in a way that reflects our true nature. So, I invite you today. What value is calling out for more space in your life? What's one simple way you can honor it, right now, right here? How might your life change if each day you made choices from this place of clarity? As you move forward, remember, you don't have to get it perfect. It's not about never wavering, but about returning, again and again, to what matters most. Let your values be the compass that guides your journey, and you'll find that even ordinary days can be filled with extraordinary meaning. Let's take another breath and begin anew, living not just by default, but by design. When you act from your core values, you become a beacon, not only for yourself, but for everyone whose lives you touch. Mastering focus, living fully in the present. Let's slow down together for just a moment. In a world that never stops spinning, where our attention is pulled in 1,000 directions at once, what if I told you that focus is a superpower? Not the kind of superpower that lifts cars or fly, but the quiet, unshakable strength to be fully here, now, with whatever you're doing. How often do you find yourself scattered, your mind juggling a dozen thoughts while your hands scroll, type, or tidy up? Maybe you're listening to this right now while replying to emails, making dinner, or thinking about tomorrow's to-do list. It's so easy to drift from one thing to the next, convinced that multitasking is the only way to keep up. But have you noticed how rarely that brings real satisfaction? Buddhist wisdom reminds us that true presence, the ability to focus our whole mind on one thing at a time, is a path to both peace and power. When we give ourselves permission to do just one thing, our experience deepens. Life becomes richer, more meaningful, and even the smallest moments become opportunities for growth. So how do we actually practice this? Let's start with a simple shift. Instead of multitasking, embrace single tasking. Pick just 3 priorities for your day. 3 things that, if you accomplish them, would make your day feel worthwhile. As you move through each task, let your attention rest fully on what's in front of you. If your mind wanders, which it will, gently bring it back, like returning to your breath in meditation. You can also carve out small rituals of mindfulness throughout your day. Maybe it's as simple as savoring your morning coffee, really tasting each sip, feeling the warmth of the mug in your hands. Or maybe it's giving your full attention to a conversation, putting your phone away and truly listening to the person in front of you. Or maybe it's stepping outside, even for just a minute, to notice the way sunlight falls or how the air feels against your skin. There's a well-known story from Buddhist tradition that captures this beautifully. A young monk was eager to impress his teacher, so he boasted about all the things he could do at once: chant, clean, think about lessons. The teacher smiled and poured the monk a cup of tea. "Drink your tea," he said. The monk kept talking. Again, the teacher gently urged, "Just drink your tea." It took a while, but finally the monk understood. When you drink tea, just drink tea. When you're present, every act, no matter how small, becomes a form of meditation. This is the heart of mastering focus. Give yourself fully to whatever you're doing and let go of everything else, even if only for a few moments. It's not about perfection, but about practice, coming back again and again to this moment, this breath, this task. You might wonder, why does this matter so much in our busy, distracted world? Because when you cultivate focus, you create clarity. You waste less energy on worry and regret. You become more resilient in the face of chaos, more at ease within yourself. Here's a simple practice to try. At the start of each day, write down your top 3 priorities. As you move through them, pause and take a conscious breath before you begin. If you catch yourself drifting, don't judge. Just gently return your attention to the task. By making focus a daily ritual, you strengthen your mind just as you would a muscle. Over time, you'll notice more calm, more clarity, and a deeper appreciation for the ordinary moments of your life. So I invite you, today, to practice the art of being here, truly here, with your life as it unfolds. Let go of the myth that you have to do everything at once. Trust that by bringing your full attention to this moment, you open yourself to joy, to growth, and to a sense of peace that multitasking can never deliver. As the old saying goes, when you walk, just walk. When you eat, just eat. When you listen, just listen. And when you live, just live. One mindful breath at a time. Building emotional resilience. Calm like a deep lake. Let's take a slow, conscious breath together. Close your eyes for a moment if you like, and picture a vast, tranquil lake. Its surface may ripple in the wind, but deep down, the water is still, untouched by storms, undisturbed by passing weather. This image, simple yet profound, holds a lesson that can change the way we move through life. True strength isn't about avoiding storms, but about finding stillness within them. How often have you wished that life would quiet down, that challenges would disappear, that your path could be just a little smoother? It's natural to want ease and comfort, but life, by its nature, will always bring moments of loss, disappointment, or uncertainty. We can't escape every storm. But what we can learn, what Buddhist philosophy teaches so gently, is how to rest in the calm beneath the surface, even when waves are breaking all around us. Emotional resilience begins when we stop fighting our feelings and start observing them with a kind, curious heart. Instead of pushing away fear, anger, or sadness, we learn to sit with these emotions, noticing them without judgment, like watching clouds drift across the sky. The practice of mindfulness and meditation isn't about fixing yourself. It's about giving yourself the space to feel, to breathe, and to respond instead of react. Let's pause here and ask, when was the last time you paused before responding to a difficult situation? How might your life change if you created just a little more space between feeling and reacting? There's a classic Buddhist teaching that captures this wisdom. A monk was living in a simple hut when one night a fire broke out and burned everything he owned. Standing in the ashes, someone asked if he was angry or afraid. The monk smiled softly and said, "Now that my hut has burned down, I can see the moon." This gentle acceptance doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending all is well. It means trusting that, even in loss, there's something deeper and beautiful waiting to be discovered. A new perspective, a hidden peace. In our daily lives, building emotional resilience is a practice, a muscle that grows stronger each time we choose awareness over reaction. Next time you feel anger rising or fear tightening in your chest, try this simple exercise. Pause and breathe deeply. Name the emotion you're feeling. Remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way. Watch as the feeling passes through you, like a wave that crests and then returns to calm. This isn't always easy. Some days the storms will feel too strong. But each time you choose stillness over struggle, you build your inner strength, like the deep lake, steady beneath the changing weather. Emotional resilience also means finding healthy ways to release your feelings. Maybe you journal your thoughts, talk with a friend, or simply take a quiet walk in nature. Whatever your practice, remember, you are not your emotions. You are the witness, the awareness that holds space for them. Ask yourself, what habits help you return to center when life gets overwhelming? Can you create a simple ritual of stillness for yourself each day? Even 5 minutes of meditation, gentle breathing, or silent gratitude. Buddhist wisdom teaches that we are punished not for our anger, by our anger. When we cling to painful emotions or let them drive our actions, we create suffering for ourselves and others. But by witnessing, accepting, and gently releasing, we make space for compassion, clarity, and peace to emerge. So, as you move through life's challenges, remember the image of the deep lake. Let yourself feel the ripples at the surface, but anchor your awareness in the quiet depths within. With every mindful breath, every pause before reacting, you strengthen your emotional resilience, not just for yourself, but for everyone you touch. And who knows, perhaps one day, when a storm passes through your life, you'll find yourself looking up and seeing the moon for the very first time. Cultivating a growth mindset, turning obstacles into opportunities. Let's pause together for a moment. Close your eyes, if you like, and take a gentle breath. Can you recall a time when something didn't go as planned? When failure or disappointment felt like a heavy weight on your heart? If you're like most people, you've known the sting of setbacks. Maybe you faced rejection at work, struggled with a difficult relationship, or watched a cherished plan unravel before your eyes. In those moments, it's easy to think, maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I should give up. But what if I told you that failure isn't the end of your story, but a beginning? What if every challenge, every disappointment is actually an invitation to grow? This is the heart of a growth mindset, a way of seeing the world that transforms obstacles into opportunities and failures into fuel for wisdom. Buddhist philosophy reminds us that all of life is impermanent, always changing. We are not fixed beings, but ever evolving. Just as a lotus flower blooms from the mud, so too can we rise, stronger and more beautiful from our struggles. Think about a time when you learned something important, not from a success, but from a mistake. Maybe you realized a new strength you never knew you had. Maybe you found resilience, patience, or compassion in the midst of challenge. Ask yourself, what has failure taught me? How have I changed for the better because of my struggles? Let me share a story. There once was an artist who dreamed of having her work displayed in galleries. She poured her heart into her paintings, but time after time, her art was rejected. The criticism stung, and more than once, she considered giving up altogether. But instead of letting defeat define her, she decided to treat every rejection as a lesson. She asked for feedback, tried new techniques, and looked at each failed attempt with curiosity rather than shame. Slowly, her work improved. She became more creative, more confident, and more persistent. Eventually, her art was not only accepted, it was celebrated. The path to her success was built step by step on the stones of her setbacks. Cultivating a growth mindset means choosing to see every challenge as a teacher. At the end of each day, try this simple practice. Write down one thing you struggled with today. Then write down what you learned from that experience, even if the lesson is simply patience or humility. Over time, you'll see a pattern. Every difficulty holds a seed of growth. When you shift from asking, "Why did this happen to me?" to "What can I learn from this?" you unlock a powerful sense of agency. You become the author of your own story, not just a character swept along by fate. Buddhist wisdom teaches us to meet every experience, pleasant or painful, with curiosity and non-judgment. When you look at your setbacks through this gentle lens, you free yourself from self-criticism and open the door to endless possibility. Ask yourself, what if every failure was simply a stepping stone to something greater? What if the mud of your life is exactly what's needed for your unique lotus to bloom? No one is born resilient, wise, or courageous. We become so by walking through life's challenges one mindful step at a time. So the next time you stumble, remember, you are growing, even when it feels like you're standing still. As you nurture this mindset, you'll find yourself less afraid of trying new things, more open to feedback, and more at peace with the natural ups and downs of life. It's not about perfection, but about progress, about celebrating each small victory and learning from every fall. Let's make space for growth together. Let your setbacks be your teachers, your failures the roots of your strength. And with each new day, approach life with the gentle curiosity of a student, always open, always learning. Because in the end, it's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about what you become through them. The art of letting go, finding freedom beyond attachment. Let's take a gentle breath together and settle into this present moment. Imagine for a second that you're holding a heavy rope. You're gripping it tightly, even though it's starting to burn your hands. You want relief, but a voice inside you says, "Don't let go. What if you need this? What if you lose something important?" This is the quiet struggle of attachment. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that clinging, whether to outcomes, possessions, or even our own stories, creates suffering. It's a paradox. The harder we hold on, the more weighed down we become. Ask yourself honestly, what are you clinging to right now? Is it a past mistake, a relationship, a dream that no longer fits? How much energy are you spending trying to control things beyond your reach? Letting go doesn't mean giving up or not caring. It means allowing yourself the freedom to breathe, to grow, and to welcome new possibilities. It's about focusing on your actions and intentions and releasing the need to control every result. There's a famous Buddhist story that captures this perfectly. A monk and his young disciple were traveling on foot when they came to a river. A woman stood at the edge, unable to cross. The monk gently lifted her, carried her across the water, and set her down. They continued on in silence, but hours later, the disciple finally spoke, troubled. "Master, we're not supposed to touch women. Why did you help her?" The monk replied calmly, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" How often do we do the same, carrying burdens, regrets, or resentments long after the moment has passed? When we hold on to old pain or unfulfilled expectations, we fill our minds with unnecessary weight. But when we practice the art of letting go, we discover space for peace, gratitude, and genuine joy. Here's a practice you can try. Each day, focus on your effort, not just the outcome. Pour your heart into what you do, and then release attachment to how things turn out. Make gratitude a daily ritual. Write down 3 things you're thankful for, especially when you feel anxious or stuck. This doesn't mean ignoring your dreams or suppressing your feelings. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes, even if it looks different from what you hoped. The energy you used to spend on clinging is now free for new growth. Think of the trees in autumn. They don't cling to their leaves, they let them fall, trusting that new life will come again. You too can trust that by letting go, you create space for something better. Ask yourself, what might you release today if you believed that letting go was a gift, not a loss? How would your heart feel if you chose to focus on gratitude, not grasping? Buddhist teachings remind us, you only lose what you cling to. When you let go of old stories, impossible standards, the need for control, you discover a deeper freedom than you ever imagined. So, as you move forward on your journey, remember the monk and his disciple by the river. Notice when you're holding on to something that's already in the past, and gently invite yourself to release it. Focus on your efforts, show up with an open heart, and let the outcome unfold as it will. Every day, choose gratitude over grasping. Every day, choose trust over control. And as you do, you'll find a new lightness, a freedom that no one else can give you and no circumstance can take away. Let's breathe into that freedom together. Let's let go and make space for the peace that's waiting within. Inspiring others through authentic living. Let's begin today's reflection with a simple question. Who has inspired you most in your life? Think about it for a moment. Was it someone famous? Maybe. But more often, it's the quiet presence of an ordinary person, someone who lives their truth, who stands by their values, who walks through the world with genuine kindness and integrity. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to think inspiration comes from big gestures or loud achievements. But real influence, the kind that lingers in the heart, so often comes from authenticity. To live authentically, to align your actions with your deepest values, is to become a beacon for others. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, when you shine your own light, you naturally give others permission to do the same. It's not about preaching or trying to change people, it's about quietly embodying the qualities you wish to see in the world. Picture a bamboo shoot growing in the forest. It doesn't rush, doesn't shout, doesn't compare itself to the trees around it. It simply rises, day by day, grounded and true. Then one morning, you look and see a tall, strong bamboo, graceful, flexible, unwavering. That's the power of steady, authentic growth. So, how do you actually live this way? It starts with small choices. Choosing honesty, even when it's inconvenient. Practicing kindness, especially when no one is watching. Taking care of yourself, not as an act of selfishness, but as a way to fill your cup so you can give to others. There's a myth that self-care is self-indulgent, but think of it like tending to a fire. If you never add fuel, the flame will fade. When you nurture your well-being, mind, body, and spirit, you create warmth that naturally spreads to everyone around you. True leadership, Buddhist teachings say, is not about commanding or controlling, but about being a living example. The people who influence us most are rarely the loudest. They are those whose actions speak for them, who inspire trust not with words, but with quiet consistency. Ask yourself, what values matter most to you? How can you honor those values today, in your work, your relationships, your smallest choices? What kind of example do you want to be, not just for the world, but for those closest to you? Let me share a perspective. Every time you choose to act with integrity, to speak your truth with compassion, or to care for yourself without guilt, you send a ripple into the world. Others see it, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. Your courage to live authentically gives others silent permission to do the same. It might feel like your actions are small, like your efforts go unnoticed. But just as bamboo quietly grows beneath the surface before it ever breaks through the soil, your authentic life is making an impact, even when you can't see it. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more people who are willing to be real. More people who can stand in their truth, even when it's difficult. Who can lead by example, not just by opinion. So, as we close this series of lessons, I invite you to carry this question forward. What would it look like to live each day just a little more authentically? How might your life and the lives of those around you change if you gave yourself permission to truly be yourself? Remember, the most powerful inspiration you can offer isn't a speech or a performance. It's the quiet, steady radiance of a life well lived, rooted in your own deepest truth. So stand tall like the bamboo, flexible, strong, and honest. Care for yourself, live your values, and trust that by being real, you are already inspiring. The ripple effect of self-growth. Let's pause together as we close this journey and breathe in the quiet power of self-reflection. You may have noticed something as you traveled through these lessons. When you work on yourself, not just on the outside, but deep within, you begin to change. But what's truly extraordinary is that your change doesn't stop with you. There's a powerful image from Buddhist wisdom that I love. Imagine dropping a small pebble into a calm pond. The moment it touches the water, ripples begin to spread, reaching further and further, sometimes to places you cannot even see. That's the ripple effect of personal growth. When you choose to cultivate mindfulness, strengthen your inner peace, and nurture your authentic self, you become that pebble. Your energy, your actions, your example, creating waves of inspiration that touch everyone around you. Sometimes we're told that focusing on ourselves is selfish, but here's a truth echoed by both science and spirituality. You can't pour from an empty cup. Just like the safety instructions on an airplane, put your own oxygen mask on first. When you care for your mind, body, and spirit, you're far better equipped to help others breathe easier too. Think about this. When you choose gratitude, you uplift the mood of everyone you meet. When you practice patience, your calm becomes a refuge for others. When you chase your purpose, you silently give others permission to follow their own path. The impact is real, even if it's often invisible. Maybe it's the courage you show in changing careers that inspires a friend to take their own leap. Maybe your journey from self-doubt to self-acceptance plants a seed of hope in someone quietly struggling. Maybe your gentle presence is the calm that soothes a storm in someone else's heart. Buddhist philosophy teaches that the true value of self-awareness, compassion, letting go, and inner strength is not just what it does for us individually, but how it helps heal the world collectively. Imagine a world where more people took the time to know themselves, to honor their values, to let go of what no longer serves them. A world where, like the lotus flower blooming in muddy water, each of us drew strength from within, lifting ourselves up and, in doing so, lifting others too. Your inner journey is not a retreat from life. It is a gift. Every time you nurture your growth, you increase your capacity to love, to forgive, to inspire, to serve. You become a living example of what's possible, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to be present, real, and resilient. So, as we reach the end of this series, I invite you to consider, what is one lesson from this journey that you want to carry forward? How might your own growth become a ripple that touches your family, your friends, your community? Remember, the answers you seek are not out there, they're within you. Your clarity, your purpose, your peace, and your authentic self, these are gifts you give not just to yourself, but to the whole world. Before we close, I'd love for you to reflect on your own ripple effect. Share in the comments. What step are you going to take to focus inward, to grow, to let go, or to live more authentically? And if this journey has inspired you, please subscribe, share this video, and invite others to begin their own path of self-discovery. Let's keep building this community of mindful, compassionate souls together. Because when we lift ourselves up, we lift the world. So, breathe deeply. Stand tall like the lotus rising from the mud. And remember, by focusing on your inner growth, you are creating waves of kindness, wisdom, and inspiration far beyond what you can see. Thank you for being here, for showing up, and for being part of this ripple effect. Your journey matters more than you know. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to gently subscribe for more mindful reflections. And if you feel inspired, please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story.